If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters. And Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
Weirding Way Media.
Night, Mr. Walters.
You see that guy over there? Now, he's an actor. The guy on the phone, he's a prize fighter. Me, I'm a cab driver. I'm the only cab driver in this place.
Good evening and welcome to Night, Mr. Walters, a taxi podcast. I'm HP, your co-host, and with me as always is the other co-host, Father Malone. Father Malone, how are you this evening?
Oh, I'm good. I'm looking forward to a Rieger-centric episode. Romantic Rieger Town.
This episode is all about Rieger, as we'll discover as we dig into it. This is Taxi Season 2, Episode 12, Alex's Romance. This was written by Ian Praiser and Howard Gurwitz. And here's the first big shocker of the episode, Father Malone. It is not directed by James Burrows. It's directed by Ed Weinberger. Madness. What's happened? I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah, please tell me what happened. This ruins his perfect record.
It does. Going back to my favorite resource, the official taxi fan guide by Frank Lovies. According to Lovies, this episode was the only one of the first 56 that Burrows didn't direct. Burrows was busy that week trying to get another John Charles Walters show off the ground. Do you know what show that is, or that was?
No.
It was the short-lived The Associates. Now, we'll get to The Associates in a moment, but what I want to say is, and this is a spoiler alert, according to Dee Wallace, that we're going to see is the guest star in this episode, she's quoted as saying, they were having trouble on the other show, The Associates, because someone had been ill or something, and poor Ed had the weight of the world on his shoulders. And he told me, Dee, just get me through this week. So I think this fledgling show, The Associates, had some issues. They brought in the big guns, James Burrows, to come and try to straighten things out. Didn't really pan out because the show didn't last that long. But let's talk a little bit about The Associates. Are you familiar with The Associates, Father Malone?
I am not, but I'm assuming it is a legal comedy.
The Associates was the first show that featured an impossibly young Martin Short in a starring role.
Oh, I now vaguely remember this.
You remember this? The thing that my mind keeps going back to is there was one particular set where the lawyers are in this giant legal library. In the finest tradition of set decoration, this thing was amazing. It just seemed to go on forever. There was a giant spiral staircase, I think, in the middle, and there's all kinds of lawyers doing their thing, books everywhere. It was wonderful. You were right. It centered on a group of junior lawyers working in a firm on Wall Street. And other actors in this show that went on to bigger and better things are Near Dark's Tim Thomerson.
Ooh,
He was in it.
Thomerson.
Joe Regalbuto. Do you know who Joe Regalbuto is?
Of course. He's the man who beat Mork.
Was he on Mork and Mindy?
He showed up as a rival alien who exposed Mork to the world.
I didn't. I knew him from Murphy Brown. He was a co-star in Murphy Brown.
Wasn't he on one of these like Automan or Street Hawk, one of these mid-range actioners?
He might have been. It's the right
Something
era.
featuring a man and his vehicle as the co-leads, and then like Joe Regalbutos, the guy who pushes buttons and goes, "Whoa, why are you pushing it so hard?"
I really hope you're right. I'd love to watch that show. So he was in it, and also Allie Mills. Do you know who Allie Mills is?
I know the name, but I could not tell you what.
She would go on to be the mother in The Wonder Years. You probably can see her in your mind's eye now. The show was critically acclaimed, but it suffered from getting its time shifted around too much. It was on this day, then it was on this time, and it never really found an audience. The show was produced by Brooks, Daniels, and Weinberger, and featured a lot of the writers from the John Charles Walters stable, including ones that we've already heard from, like Michael Leeson and Earl Pomerantz. The Associates even got several Emmy nominations in 1980 for outstanding writing in a comedy series. Here's the final, my favorite tidbit from The Associates. This is going to be it. The theme song was a song called Wall Street Blues. It's a blues number performed by the great B.B. King.
Wow.
However, it was co-written, get this, by none other than Albert Brooks. Yes, Albert Brooks, the comedian, he co-wrote this blues. I mean, you listen to it and it's B.B. King. It's a blues song. In fact, he did all of the interstitial music, much the way Bob James was the house composer for Taxi. B.B. King was the house composer / musician for The Associates. But B.B. King, isn't that weird?
Weirder is how Albert Brooks got involved with writing a blues song with B.B. King as the title track for a sitcom.
Albert Brooks did an album, a comedy album, I think just around this time, called A Star Is Bought. It's fantastic. If you haven't heard it, you've got to hear it. They collaborated on a blues track, where B.B. King is playing the blues and Albert Brooks is doing some comedy behind him. It's very funny. Having said that, I don't know how they initially got themselves together, let alone how they wrote a blues song, because it's a blues song. It's not like Albert Brooks doing shtick. It's just B.B. King. But I thought that was fascinating. What an amazing little tidbit. So anyway, enough about The Associates. Reminder, we're doing these shows in broadcast order and not in order of filming. We open on a new B-roll of the exterior of Mario's. Among a line of cabs parked outside, we see, I don't know if you noticed this, we see a blonde guy dressed exactly like the Fonz entering Mario's with a buddy. Did you see him?
No. I'm so over the Mario's exterior as the B-roll.
But this was so weird. He's got the leather jacket, he's got the white shirt, the blue jeans. He's a perfect match for the Fonz, save for the fact that he's just this blonde guy. I just thought it bared mentioning. That's all.
He also sounds like he could be in like a cigarette ad in the back of GQ.
Pretty much, but it was just this guy, the Fonz, and his buddy going into Mario's. I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny.
Blonde Fonzie.
That's right.
Blondie.
We cut inside Mario's, and Bobby is sitting at a table trying to console a crying blonde woman. Father Malone, the Joe Dante connection continues.
Oh my
Who
God,
is
you're
this blonde
right.
woman?
It's Dee Wallace. Oh my God. So
it is Dee
young.
Wallace. Yeah, she's young and beautiful. She's obviously best known for parts like Karen White in Joe Dante's The Howling.
Right around this time, right? Like this is like 1980, 81 right here. So
Yeah.
this is around the same time she's starring in that.
Unless I'm mistaken, I think The Howling came right after Taxi. Most people will know her as Elliot's mom in E.T. She was also the mother in Cujo, and I'm sure she had many other mom roles throughout her
Halloween
IMDb.
remake. That Rob Zombie Halloween remake. She was the mom in that.
She was. I never saw it.
Yeah, she's good in it. She gets killed. It's terrible. You feel awful.
I didn't know she was still acting, even now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's great, man. She's effortless.
She's very, very good in this. Spoiler alert.
She's like a serious Goldie Hawn.
That's actually a really good comparison. I hadn't thought of her in those terms.
She's got a bubbliness to her that is really charming, but she's also like a heavy hitter dramatically.
Yeah, and she's called upon to do to put a lot of that on display in this episode, as we'll discuss. From the conversation Bobby's having with this woman, it sounds like her name is Joyce. It sounds like Joyce and Bobby have both been dropped from a soap opera. Turns out Bobby, I guess, got called back to For Better, For Worse, which she was acting on as well, and they were both fired. And all of Bobby's efforts to console Joyce are just making it worse, and she's openly sobbing. And I think people in the restaurant are looking at them funny. And
and there's a woman over his left shoulder on the right side of the screen at the top. She's locked on to them the entire time. This woman does not look away from the drama going on at this table. You know what? Can't blame her.
Well, do you think she's just doing her best to act like a real person in the restaurant, or do you think she's like going above and beyond, making herself known beyond her obligation?
Yes.
Both?
I think it's both, yeah. I think all the extras, and I noticed this later in the next episode as well. Anytime there's like a spectacle going on and the extras are called to watch, they're very excited.
It doesn't matter if you're in the garage or you're in Mario's or wherever, they always pack the set full of wonderful extras and background players that add a lot of texture to the scene. Alex arrives at Mario's and goes right over to the bar and orders a beer. Bobby, sensing his opportunity to get out of this awkward situation, of course, Bobby being pretty shallow and not wanting to deal with this sobbing actress, hustles over to talk to Alex. Now, a side note, Alex is wearing the heaviest cardigan sweater I've ever seen, with another coordinated sweater underneath it. He looks like a cross between a Nordic fisherman and a sensitive psychiatrist. Surely you noticed this.
Oh my God, he's all sweat. It's just like a layer of perspiration underneath his like 17 layers of clothes. I think we're supposed to believe that we're moving into winter, and in the next episode, that will definitely be the case. So maybe this is fall now, but this is the only hint that it's fall, because Wheeler is in his customary shirt open to his navel without his jacket. But obviously Rieger just came in from outdoors, but it's not like he makes any motion to remove a layer at any point.
What you're saying tracks, because you're right. The following episode, we do see some snow-covered streets. And in fact, eventually when Joyce gets up and leaves the restaurant, we see her later, she's wearing a very heavy fur coat, much like what Elaine wore in the last episode or 2 episodes ago. So yeah, I guess you're right. Makes sense that it's wintertime is coming and they need to bundle up. But boy, Alex really has a penchant for those heavy cardigans. He wears them a lot.
It's not like they telegraph to the audience that the seasons have changed either. It's like we just had so many fucking glowing sunset shots of the garage for the entire run up until now that it seems like it's been summer this whole time. But I guess summer has ended while romance is blooming. Also, shout out to Wheeler for being Wheeler and just going like, he's with this girl. He figures out, I don't have a chance with her. She's just upset. Let me fob her off on Rieger and then get out of here.
Speaking of Bobby, Bobby offers to introduce Alex to Joyce. Well, you can literally, the camera's not even focused on her, but you can literally hear her sobbing loudly in the background. And Alex, being Alex, says thanks, but no thanks, since apparently a previous introduction that Bobby made went pretty bad. But Bobby, being Bobby, again, won't take no for an answer. And he basically shoves Alex over to the table to make introductions. But despite his apprehension, Alex tries to crack a joke or two. Bobby sees his opportunity and skedaddles. He's out of there. We don't really see a whole lot of Bobby or a lot of the other cabbies for that matter. Seeing Joyce once again sobbing really loudly, Alex's chivalrous nature gets the best of him, and he sits with Joyce and he makes another joke. And finally, things seem to be warming up. He's breaking the ice a little bit. And Joyce goes on to explain that she's played the villainous Blanche Bane on For Better, For Worse. I was right that it was For Better, For Worse. But then this begs the question: are there
Excuse
no
me.
other soap operas?
HP, excuse me for a second.
Yeah,
Did you just say that this name of the show is For Better for Worse, right?
for better, for worse. Yeah,
Right. And then you said you were right.
I was right that I suspected they were dealing with For Better for Worse as their soap opera jobs. We hadn't
Oh,
heard
okay.
that up to this point. I didn't make that clear.
No, because you're right. No, there is no other soap opera being shot in New York at this time. They'd all moved to Los Angeles. You don't know that? You didn't hear about that? The late 70s? The great soap opera purge.
The Great Migration.
Correct.
She played this soap opera villain for 8 years, and she was even voted the most despised woman on daytime TV 3 years in a row, Father Malone. But in a blatant display of ageism, the producers suddenly decided she was too old to play the part. By the way, Dee Wallace was 32 at the time.
So is she playing older here?
No, I don't think she's playing older.
Just
I
making
think
they're making a comment on the fact that 32 is now an old man because it's television rules.
Well, I'm making that comment because they're not calling it out, but I'm suggesting, like, how could she? That means that if she's been on there 8 years in a row, she started on this show when she was 24 years old, which is like super young. 32 is still super young. I don't know. I guess things work differently in soap operas. I don't know. Alex continues to make corny jokes, and Joyce is flip-flopping between laughter and crying and back to laughter. And finally, Alex tells her that she has two choices. She can continue to feel sorry for herself, or, and I love this part, he pounds the table and shouts, "I'm not going to let this get me down." And this, everybody in the restaurant, I don't know if you noticed that, it's like E.F. Hutton. Everybody turns because he shouts very theatrically.
One would. You would turn, so would I. And then I'd go, this guy's fucking problem. And I go back to my food, unlike everyone in the restaurant who continues to stare.
Right. So he says, you have these choices, or you can at least have dinner with me. And it's in this moment, I think, that you see Alex go from being annoyed, frankly, at being saddled with Joyce to maybe being a little interested in her. Because he really is kind of falling over himself to make her laugh and cheer her up. It's kind of sweet to see him try and make the best of the situation. It's like you see Alex impulsively deciding to go for it and being genuinely surprised at both his reaction and her agreeing to go to dinner, because she does agree to go to dinner with him.
It's sweet, but did you get a look at her? Well, of course he's falling all over himself to like make her happy. Like if Angela Matusa had been sitting at that table and crying, Riga would have went, "Oh no, no, no," and would have like backed as soon as Wheeler started to stare him over there, be like, "I don't want any part of this."
Once she accepts his dinner invitation, Alex insists they get dinner elsewhere. Once again, we have a cabbie talking about how bad the food is in Mario's. Again, I ask you, Father Malone, why do the cabbies continue to frequent Mario's? It's a dive.
Beer.
That's it? Then why? But I don't know. There's other places, surely restaurants where you can get beer and a good meal.
That's around the corner from the garage. Who wants food when you can have beer?
I don't know. I can't see it, but whatever.
Plus, that food is great. It's just another cheap shot. Like Riga just wanted to get out of there.
That's true. He just wanted to get out of there and go somewhere more romantic, probably. So we fade out and then we fade back in. It's a city street B-roll in the evening. The camera cranes over to a second floor apartment window, which I believe we're led to understand is Rieger's apartment, because we cut into the apartment as Alex and Joyce walk in. The lights are off and he's turning on the lights. Now, another side note, they're walking in through what will later be known as Alex's bedroom door. It bugs me when they do stuff like this. We'll see this a couple of times in Alex's apartment, but it's weird. They're coming in through this back, and even like just in terms of blocking, it's odd because they're coming from far off, like in the background and walking to, I thought, what did you think of that? I thought it was a weird choice.
It was a weird choice. The thing is, I can't specifically remember the layout of Rieger's place when we had the kid in the wheelchair episode.
No, it was the one where Elaine's son
Oh,
had the
Elaine's
spelling
kid.
bee.
Yeah, that's right. The spelling bee one, right?
But
Is
we
it
never
the-
saw, we only saw his bedroom. We didn't see anything more.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, okay. I was weirded out by the layout of his apartment. The way that door is means that he has the apartment at the end of the hall, right? It's not on the left or the right. You just walk straight down the hallway and there's a door, and that's Rieger's apartment.
I would say so. Yeah, that makes sense.
So he's got a bit more space than the rest of the tenants on that floor.
Yeah, we'll get into the apartment and the design of it shortly, but yeah, this is the first really good look we're getting of Alex's apartment, and we'll see it a few more times in the course of the series. You're right. The last time we saw it was during the Spelling Bee episode with Elaine's son, but that was only the bedroom. But what I love is the apartment is chock full of dense detail. There's a lot of books. There's a little eating nook in the corner. There's a comfy couch, a fridge off to the side. I love these like little
A
details.
gigantic fucking painting of a chair.
Is it like a Magritte? Like what? I don't remember this.
No.
What is it?
No, it's just like Pier 1 Imports bullshit. It's like, what? Yeah, that looks good. Throw that up on the wall. Show some culture for Rieger. That culture very low.
Yeah, very low culture. He does make the comment as he's ushering Joyce into his apartment that he decorated it himself. So that also makes sense that it would be some Pier 1 Imports crap that he put on the wall. Alex and Joyce make I thought it was very believable, awkward back and forth conversation, which is really befitting Alex trying to make a good impression on Joyce, and her carefree attitude sort of shading into romantic interest. At one point, Joyce impulsively loses herself in the moment and hugs Alex, but when he leans in for a smooch, she retreats from him. She warns Alex. She says, "Don't get involved with me." She says she's a basket case, and Alex makes light of this warning, insisting that he's a stable influence. But Joyce isn't so easily convinced. She tells him they should make an agreement that they won't get involved, and Alex plays along. Now, we know where this is going because that they're not going to just leave it at that. We know things are going to get hot and heavy with Alex and Joyce. But thus far, what do you make of their interaction? Were you as charmed by it as I was, Father Malone?
Yeah, because it's rare we get to see Rieger doing physical comedy, and all of the back and forth with the "I'm going to be kissed, no, I'm not," falling over kind of stuff is really, really good.
Yeah.
And, plus it's good to see that kind of "we shouldn't, we should" done well,
They clearly have feelings for each other, but it's almost like a magnet that kind of attracts and then repels and attracts and repels. I think a lot of us can relate.
This is also an example of something that I really like in any kind of a romantic situation where one of the characters lets the other character know straight up how this is going to go. And the other character's like, "No, it's fine." So when she says, "Let's make this agreement, we're not going to do anything," she actually means that.
Yeah. And because
that movie 500 Days of Summer was basically all about this idea. I'm not going to change. You're eventually going to be sick of this kind of a thing, I like that. I like that.
Alex has a very preconceived notion of who Joyce is and who he is and how he can make her quote unquote better. But that's not really, that's not good for Joyce. That's not being fair to Joyce. And we'll see this. And that's very similar to what the characters in 500 Days of Summer go through. Like the Joseph Gordon-Levitt character there's that great scene at the end where he goes to see her and he has in his mind how things are going to go. And they're very different from reality. And I think Alex is heading down a similar path, as we'll see with Joyce. Alex's humor is really winning Joyce over. And finally, she loses a bit of control and she asks Alex to kiss her again. But just like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown, she switches back to defense mode and spins away as he's leaning in for a kiss. And Alex, at that point, he insists they're just going to drink some wine and they're going to talk. That's it.
Sure. Yeah, that's the line. That's the move.
It's
good work, Alex.
He proceeds to pull a bottle from his fridge that looks like a bottle of Scope mouthwash. It's such a weird looking. Did you notice this weird wine?
Yeah, Yeah, it's like a Moscato. It's like a dessert wine. That's why he keeps it chilled. But yes, no, what I thought was funny is he says, I've got to go to the wine cellar. And then he went to the refrigerator. I thought that was a good bit. But then yes, I was also confused by him going to the refrigerator, first of all, to get the wine. And then second of all, pulling out this weird fucking decanter from the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or something, you know?
It was like a bottle of Saurian brandy or something. It was bizarre. That's for you Star Trek nerds out there. Joyce and Alex continue this back and forth, but eventually Alex's good humor wins out and she lets him kiss her. I really, really love this scene, Father Malone. I found Alex's eagerness to get romantic with Joyce. It was very believable because, as you pointed out, who wouldn't? What man wouldn't be charmed by 32-year-old Dee Wallace, right? Wallace makes this character charming and vulnerable, even as she's flip-flopping cartoonishly between wanting to kiss Alex and pushing him away. So I think the scene works beautifully.
She's remarkable here and she's remarkable in the first scene because she's doing what is kind of a trope, which is the laughing hysterically becomes crying and back again. But she does it really effortlessly.
As they kiss, we cut to the garage and Alex positively bounds and he's like skipping into the garage basically to get his assignment from Louis. He's in the best mood. He's saying hi to everybody. He's acting cheery. Clearly, I think we all know that, that if we're reading into this, we think Alex is probably, he's probably getting some from Joyce. He's not to be crass about
Getting
it.
some?
Yeah, he's probably having sex.
Yeah, don't be crass, man. He's laying pipe.
So Elaine notices his cheeriness, and Alex gushes some more about how happy he is. The cabbies all ask if it's Joyce, and Alex admits to them that they've been getting along really well. By Alex's description, they've been dating for a total of 2 weeks, which Alex says have been the most interesting 2 weeks of his life. He says Joyce goes full out. When she's happy, she's the happiest person. And when she's sad, she'll break your heart.
Yeah, it sounds manic, but okay.
That's exactly what I wrote down here. I said, nowadays, Joyce would be considered manic depressive, but back in 1980, she's just overly emotional. So that shows you
No, she's an actress.
Well, you've known more than
Right.
your share of actresses, so you can speak to that more than I could.
Geez, now that I think about it, how many of them were just manic?
Could be.
I'd say a good 75%.
When they were happy, were they the happiest person? And when they were sad, did they
Yes.
break your heart? Yeah.
Yes. Jeez. Manic plus talent equals Meryl Streep.
Joyce, at this point, runs into the garage. Like I said, she's got the biggest fur coat you've ever seen. And she happily greets Alex and the rest of the cabbies. She even gets introduced to Louis, who curiously doesn't seem affected by her. Father Malone, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't he previously cop to never missing an episode of For Better, For Worse? Do you remember this?
That's right. He should have been fucking delighted when she walked in. He should have been like telling her off for some misdeed she had done, or encouraging her, or saying like, I'm glad you're gone, or I wish you were back. Something. You're right.
He doesn't notice her really that much, which I thought was odd. Joyce is positively bursting with the news that she might have a new job, the lead in a TV series. But unfortunately, as often happens in sitcoms, she'll have to relocate to LA. Alex can't help but register his disappointment. He wants to be happy for her because he knows how much this means to her, but you can tell that selfishly, he's very let down by this news.
Yes, he's massively good here.
Without doing a whole lot, he does a ton. She says to Alex she'd prefer to stay in New York, but really she doesn't have any choice about relocating. If the show's in LA, what can she do? She leaves as the cabbies are all rather subdued. They've watched this play out in front of them, watching Alex's reaction. Alex is pretty much speechless in his sadness and his being taken aback by this news, because he just got through telling the cabbies that this has been like the best 2 weeks of his life. And now he's seeing this all get sent off to LA for another job. Each cabbie in turn tries to make him feel better. Bobby apologizes for how flaky Joyce is. Elaine says she didn't think they were right for each other. And Tony says, oh, she wasn't that great anyways. Bobby tells Alex, just forget about her. But seized by an impulse, Alex says he has a better idea. He's going to go ask Joyce to marry him. and then literally runs out of the garage to the cabbie's disapproval. They all start murmuring, blah, blah, blah. Once again, we're seeing this impulsiveness of Alex take hold. And I think it's very much in character. And now after 2 weeks, he's going to ask this woman to marry him. It's crazy. But I'm
Here's
here
my note.
Yeah.
Rieger, no. Do not engage in a desperation proposal.
It makes me feel a little bit, embarrassed for him a little bit.
Yeah, man, I agree with you. This isn't a case of him acting out of character. This is a case of we, the audience, watching a train slowly wreck.
Yeah. So we fade into Alex's apartment where he's arranged a very romantic setting. He's got candles. There's champagne chilling on the coffee table. He's got a spiffy dark beige suit, which looks great. And he even...
It looked great? I'm sorry, did you just say that looked great?
On him, it looked great, sure.
Oh, God, man, he looked like a science teacher at a not so great school.
That's fair enough. That's okay. For him, that it's the height of dressing up,
Disagree. He looked better in his many layers of sweaters. Do you think he has like pants made of that sweater material as well? Like some sort of bizarre Canadian tuxedo, just all sweater underpants, sweater pants, sweater vest, sweater shirt.
Thick cardigan material, a tie made out of it, pants, socks, the whole bit. He even pulls out a suspiciously ring box shaped parcel from his pocket. He's really doing this.
Sweater box. Just a loop of yarn in there.
It's a ball of yarn with a ring tucked into the middle of it, like a cat toy. So just then, Joyce enters the apartment. She starts walking towards Alex. Now, another side note, I don't know if you noticed this, the angle towards the dining table, we can see what appears to be an old-fashioned barbershop chair. Did you notice this, Father Malone?
I did. I locked right onto it because that's like, everyone thinks that's like a bachelor's dream to have a barber chair, like as if it was the most comfortable chair of all time or something. I don't know. I never understood it. I've sat in my fair share of barber chairs, but I've never thought like, geez, I need this gigantic contraption in my home.
It just looks so out of place in this comfy apartment. I mean, such as it is, it's not exactly like the height of home decoration, but this thing stuck out like the proverbial sore thumb. I couldn't figure it out. It just looked like, if I'm putting myself, if I were a woman going into this guy's apartment and I saw this thing, I don't know what I would think. It's just bizarre looking, this big lumpy chair, red with white piping, and it's got like the attachments and stuff, like the thing to make the height go up and down.
You think someone's gonna walk in and think it's like a scene from Star 80, like Alex, are these restraints? Oh no, this is just a comfy chair, everybody.
Joyce comments on the apartment, says it looks really nice, and asks what the occasion is. Evidently, Alex's apartment is looking nicer than usual, cleaner than usual. So Alex plays coy, which leads Joyce to jump to the conclusion that he's celebrating her new job.
I love that her initial reaction is, oh, this is a celebratory dinner, because she's right. It should be. It should be, whether or not he's doing this bullshit proposal out of sheer desperation to lock her down and keep her in New York. Ugh, such a bad idea. But I love how, we'll get to it, but I love how fast she figures out what he's actually up to.
Yeah. And the irony is the flighty one, the one who's supposed to be ping-ponging between happiness and sadness, is really the one who's thinking most logically. He should be happy for her. He saw how upset she was at losing the For Better For Worse gig. So yeah, he should be really happy for her. Alex keeps insisting that there's no special reason for all this hubbub. Joyce isn't having it. She's too perceptive for this. And finally, Alex comes clean and gives Joyce this flowery speech about how great the 2 weeks have been, and she's the light of his life and all this stuff, that it's really kind of cringy because, again, they've known each other for 2 weeks. And sensing the train that's coming down the track at her, Joyce just comes out and she says that she hopes Alex isn't proposing to her. Alex keeps trying to disarm her with humor, but she keeps trying to circle back to the matter at hand. I love this kind of wrestling back and forth that they keep doing, because he wants to propose, but he can see how unhappy she is at the prospect of him proposing. So he keeps trying to play it off like he's not proposing, but she keeps trying to get it back to what she recognizes as the real purpose of this whole rigmarole, you know?
She's right through him. It's not a back and forth at all. It's a don't propose to me. Well, let me just say, don't propose to me. I'm thinking about don't propose to me.
It is, and she's wonderful. Like I keep saying, it's Taxi continues to get the best guest stars. Like these guest stars, in this case, Dee Wallace, she could have very easily slotted in as a semi-full member of the cast. She's great.
This is now the second romantic interest for Rieger, who could have easily joined the cast. Joanna Cassidy last season
That's right.
could have been another cabbie without any break in the action. You know, Dee Wallace too. She would have been great on this show.
Yeah,
she is great on this show.
She's awesome. Joyce says to Alex she'd make a terrible wife, but Alex keeps grasping at the chance of marrying her. And as we've already been saying, it's hard not to feel bad for Alex, despite his insistence of being a solid rock of support. We've talked about this a little bit. He's shown a very impulsive side. I mean, this is the same guy who, in the first episode, drove all the way down to Miami from New York just for the chance to have a 10-minute conversation with his daughter. Despite the fact that Alex is primarily known as being the rock of the cabbies, the sensible one, this impulsive streak keeps running through his character. And we'll see this through every season of Taxi.
I also like that the sort of back and forth here, that they get together because she's flaky and he's stable. Like this, they're playing off the idea that opposites attract in a relationship, right? But the other part of a relationship is when one person starts to fumble and be weird, the other person has to step up. And I think that's we actually get a little bit of that during her rebuffing of Rieger, when she becomes rational and sane, and now he's the flaky and weird one. So if she were to stick around, I think they actually would have been perfect for each other. The fact that this has been 2 weeks, really, if she were going to be a working actress in New York, wouldn't matter as far as them getting married. But the problem is she is leaving. She did say that this wasn't going to last. And this is a proposal based not on his heart. It's based on possession or something. You know, it's based on fear.
He says at one point that he knows that he's going to be good for her. That's obviously not a good basis to propose to somebody, because that's not taking into account the other person's feelings, the other person's take on the whole relationship. His whole thing is, this has all been a roller coaster, and I can see how up and down you are emotionally, but I think I'm stable enough that, for lack of a better phrase, I could be good for you. I could fix that part of you. I could settle that down. I could calm you down. But that just gets back to what you're saying about this really being about possession and about what he can do for her, as opposed to how they can come together to have a relationship mutually, of mutual respect.
If he's being Captain Save-A-Ho, then that's a problem. But when he's asked like why, and his response is, I could be good for her, I actually thought that was an admirable answer, because the selfish answer is because she makes me happy and I don't want to lose her. Like, at least he's thinking about her. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know. It feels like possession by another name.
He needs to be coming at it from a partnership point of view and not a one thing or another.
Yeah. If he had said we would be good for each other, that might have been enough of a twist on his original statement to make me believe, well, maybe he has the right intent, but he's just looking at it as to what he can do for her, as opposed to how they could make this relationship work for the two of them. Finally, Joyce asks what he sees in her. And that's when Alex gets to the crux of his feelings. That's when he says this thing about how he thinks he'll be good for her. And I wrote down here, boy, he really stepped into it here. because rightfully so, that sets Joyce off, and she even turns it around on Alex. He's supposed to be the stable one, yet he's the one who's proposing marriage after only knowing her for 2 weeks. Touche, Joyce. As she's mocking Alex, she picks up, there's this bell that's on the coffee table that he's put there during his preparations.
This is great. Yeah, because this is a payoff because she mentions it earlier. It's like, don't touch that bell.
That's right.
And that's like, what are you talking about? Wedding bells? And she just starts ringing it.
Yeah, it's Chekhov's bell. You don't introduce a bell at the beginning of the scene if you're not going to use it. So yeah, she picks up the bell and wedding bells. She rings it. And at that point on cue, 3 violinists parade through the apartment playing as time goes by, which cracks up Joyce. Alex is rightfully embarrassed, but she just thinks it's the funniest thing, which is so sweet, right?
Yeah. She's not mad. There's no rancor here. This isn't an acrimonious breakup, but it is awkward and weird because it is happening and it's happening under these circumstances, but the circumstances are so extreme. The only thing that would have made this scene better, HP, is if that door burst open and a mariachi band came out.
I kind of thought it was going to be because I hadn't remembered this part. with the big sombreros.
Would have been great.
The guitars, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, like this is the celebratory thing. Like it was going to be romantic. It was like, yay, you're getting married. That's what the bell was for.
This cracks her up. And the humor of that moment, I think, finally breaks the tension between the two of them. And finally, they both agree to say goodbye when it's time for her to go. At this point, Alex lets go of this fantasy that he's going to marry her after 2 weeks. They agree to enjoy the time they have left together, which is only a couple of days. And I love this little button. I don't know, it just made me kind of chuckle a little bit suggestively. She starts leading Alex by the hand, and presumably she's going to take him to the bedroom to fuck the sadness away. That's what I wrote down. I just love this image of her like, all right, let's get on with it.
They got 2 days. No, I don't think she's like doing him a favor. She's going to get something out of it too. You know, she's going to miss him as well. Like it's a mutually pleasurable 2-day orgasm before she's jetting off to the coast.
Yeah, it's so the whole thing ends up so sweet because you can still see that Alex is a bit dumbfounded by everything that's transpired and he's sad about it, but he's resolved to make the best of the next couple of days with her and make it as beautiful as possible for the two of them.
No, we cut to a year later in Malibu, and it's Joyce and another actress, and the dialogue is, a cab driver? Yeah, I was really, I don't know. I was kind of lost after I lost that job. I was there for 8 years. 8 years. Yeah, 8 years. Crazy, but he was sweet. I don't know. Cab drivers.
And it turns out when I got to LA, I went to a doctor. I wasn't feeling well. And you know what? He diagnosed me as being manic depressive. And then he put me on this medication, and I've never thought more clearly in my life. Boy, I dodged a bullet with that cabbie.
Do you know he proposed? Get out of here. He did. I actually considered it.
As she's leading him to the bedroom in this very, beautiful fashion, there's a loud bang that catches Joyce's attention, coming from what in this scene is the closet, but later we'll find out is actually the door to the hallway. But for some reason, it's a little different. This is like a multiverse Alex's apartment. And they pass the closet and Alex is, oh, no. This is just like the bell. Don't open it. And she opens it, an avalanche of balloons. There's more balloons that come out of, let's face it, more balloons come out of the closet than could actually physically fit. They must have had behind the facade.
Oh, yeah. That room stretches on and on and on back there where we can't see. So they've got a hallway filled with balloons.
And they must have turned on a fan because not only do the balloons start spilling out, but they start like rushing out as if propelled by a fan, which I think is what's happening here. And that cracks the both of them up and they kiss. And it's a very nice little button to the scene. And we fade out. We cut back to the garage now. and we see Alex, a morose Alex, is sitting by the coffee machine, and we understand now that this is probably, Joyce has left. Elaine comes in and she asks Alex if he wants to talk about Joyce leaving that day. I guess it was that day that she left. And Alex, as he does, plays it off. And the rest of the cabbies express concern about him. And then this is the funny thing. I just want to break in for a minute. The funny thing is, my memory of this episode ended with him sitting morosely at the coffee machine. I totally forgot about this whole additional bit. So this was an added delight. What happens is Jim is the one who offers to help Alex, talk to Alex about what he's going through. And they all kind of scoff at him. And Jim reminds them that he's a man of the cloth. Don't forget, he married Latka and the prostitute in the paper marriage episode from season 1. So it makes a lot of sense that he would be the one to try to offer comfort to a member of his flock, so to speak. For some odd reason, he takes Latka with him to talk to Alex. This is so bizarre. And
no, he doesn't. It's not. It's more bizarre than that, because he's like, I'm gonna go talk to him, and they're like, "Are you sure you can handle it?" And as if he needs backup, he brings Latka. Like,
right.
It was the weirdest. Like, look, what we end up getting is sitting on a bench, a sandwich of Rieger with bread of Latka and Reverend Jim. So it's pretty great, but what a weird contrivance to get us there. How about they just both walk over to talk to Alex? Why do we have to be talked into this? It's weird.
It gets weirder though. So Latka, for privacy, Latka offers to go with the two of them to the tool room to talk. And this is the same, we've seen this tool room. Remember the episode where Alex had sex with Latka's mother? This is where he goes to basically fuck off and drink his native wine from his country and whatever else, fall asleep, who knows. So
sniff.
So they go into this this tool room, and it's
reconfigured
great.
By the way.
Was it really reconfigured? I didn't notice too much. It
looked
the same.
No, my God, they come in from where the lockers used to be. If you remember, right. The door was on the other side of the room, and next to the door was the poster, the Iwo Jima poster. Now the Iwo Jima poster is over here, where they walk in through the door. So yeah, that was unusual.
You're right, because I think they came in like stage left before, and now they're coming in at the very. So we're in a multiverse of madness in the Sunshine Cab Company. Not only is Alex's apartment totally reconfigured, but so is the tool room.
Burns. I blame Burns.
That was a final bewitchment, enchantment he put over the cabbies. So what I love about the way the scene is blocked is Jim goes behind a tool chest and he starts to orate like a preacher behind a pulpit. Yeah, but it's like a snap-on tool chest. It's it's about that height though. And Jim is offering stilted metaphors like life is like an ice cream cone, while all the while Latka is testifying like hallelujah. It's really funny. And Alex is just watching in silence. He doesn't know what to make of any of this. And Latka is so moved by Jim's sermon, and it becomes clear that not only did Jim think he was helping Latka, but he's mixed up all of the cabbie's attributes into Latka. He calls Latka Bobby and thinks he's a boxer raising 2 kids all on his own. So he's combined all of these cabbies into one amorphous creation. But actually, Jim's confusion seems to cheer Alex up, or at least take his mind off of his troubles. And this is the best part. It even leads to what might be the first time Jim ever says the word "okie doke." Did you notice that?
I did, actually.
Because that becomes one of his trademarks, right? But he does say that as he's leaving the tool room. And finally, Jim leaves Alex alone in the room. And all Alex can do at this point is just laugh at the absurdity of it all. And we see him finally a little cheered up from the events of the day. And that's it. We fade to black. And that's Alex's romance. Now, let's talk yellow lights.
What does a yellow light mean?
Reminder, we score on a scale of 1 yellow light to 5. 1 yellow light is the worst taxi episode. 5 is the best. And as is also our custom, we're going to throw it over to you, Father Malone. What do you give? How many yellow lights do you give Alex's romance?
4 yellow lights.
4 yellow lights, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising. I didn't think.
What did you get? Did you give it 3?
I gave it 3 yellow lights.
Wow, you're wrong for once.
Well, no, here's the thing. My reasoning is, I really, really enjoyed this episode, despite the fact that it's not necessarily one that I would rewatch all that often, as evidenced by the fact that I forgot all about this bit with Jim and Lakta at the end. Dee Wallace is fantastic. In her performance, you can see why Alex would be so bewitched by this woman. And as for Alex, even though it might seem unbelievable, like I keep saying, his behavior is very consistent with his past and future behavior. There's not much input from the rest of the cabbies, which is a negative. But the final scene with Jim is charming. And once again, he hasn't become the full-on drug casualty that we'll see in later seasons. But I mean, 3 yellow lights is still above average in my book. What put it above and beyond for you?
The series tends to do group episodes and then individual episodes. The individual episodes, for me, for the most part, have been the most disappointing part of the show. Because the first season was riddled with aspirational episodes. I'm going to get out of this. I've got my dream job. I'm getting out of this lifestyle. I'm going away. Which sort of paints everyone with the same brush and makes everyone's life only about their occupation. So the next step up that rung, up that ladder is, of course, their romantic lives. But this is the second episode with Rieger. We've had 3 altogether, sort of romantic episodes. We've had Angela, we had the Joanna Cassidy episode, now we've had this episode. And Rieger's romantic episodes always come from an odd angle, it seems. I really liked this one. Not only do I like the characters here, not only do I like that everyone's behaving like an adult, there's no need to stretch reality or contrive something to make this or that happen, other than the basic sitcom contrivance of, hey, I've got a job and I've got to move away. What I particularly like is any other sitcom, the last shot, the fade out, would have been the door opening and all of the balloons coming out. Da, 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 but here we get this coda where characters try to cheer up Rieger, accomplish nothing at all other than just say, and now you're stuck with us fucking weirdos. It's an odd end to what is a charming and exceedingly economical episode. The fact that the third, would you consider that end part like more of a bumper? Like an extended bumper? The stuff with Jim and...
I don't think so, because aren't usually the bumpers, don't they usually have more to do with the B plot? Or maybe I'm just making that up in my mind, but that's what I always assumed or thought of as a bumper.
You're right. The bumpers usually wrap up the B plot.
Yeah.
There is no B plot. This is just more. So I don't know. Maybe they combine A plot and B plot wrapping up into this final bumper here. So it became twice as long, because it's not a full act. You can't call it that.
Right. You know what? You've convinced me, Father Malone. I'm gonna bump this up a light. I'm gonna go to 4 yellow lights on this, because I'm also thinking more about how there's a maturity about an episode that's focusing on this. Not that Alex is at this point like an old man, let's say, but he's a mature adult. He's caught up in the rush of this sort of infatuation, this relationship. And I love the way it plays out. I love the fact that he ends up really playing the fool. And the woman that you think is scattered and overly emotional, for lack of a better phrase, is actually the mature one. And she turns it around on him. But despite that, she doesn't run from Alex, despite all of this weirdness he throws at her in the proposal scene. It's just the word I can keep coming back to is charming. For that reason, you know what? It's worth an extra yellow light. So I'll give it 4 yellow lights too. This might be a first. This might be the first time you've convinced me to bump up a yellow light, Father Malone. So
I think I've convinced you to take one away before.
that's right. That's true. But no, you're right. I can't. Yes, this isn't one that I would necessarily pick out of the available grouping to watch if I wanted a quick, a quick watch. But it's a good one. It's well written, economical, as you said, and it's fun. And it does all of this without James Burrows at the helm. So bravo, Ed Weinberger. He did a great job.
Right? He really did.
He did. Wonderful. So that's going to do it for this episode of Night, Mr. Walters. Father Malone, where can people find you when you're not clocked into the garage?
Check me out over at weirdingwaymedia.com. I have a show called Midnight Viewing. It's on twice a week. Mondays is a wrap-up show, a weekly wrap-up show, and Fridays alternates between the Horror Anthology podcast, where we're taking a look at Tales from the Dark Side, and Anthology's Attack, where we take a look at anthology movies of every genre. And I have a Patreon. If you want to go subscribe there, you can do that. That is patreon.com/Father Malone. You can get all those episodes early and commercial free. And got a few bonus episodes, and I'm actually I'm doing a sort of deep dive expose kind of thing on Penny Dreadful, the Showtime series from a decade ago. I'm going episode by episode on that'll be part of the Patreon, so you can check me out over there.
It may be a cliche, but I'm going to go ahead and say that Father Malone is the hardest working man in podcasting. No one puts out more quality content in his podcasts than Father Malone. He works really hard at it, and I would encourage you, any one of these podcasts is surely worth your time to check it out. So please do so. As for myself, when I'm not co-hosting this fine podcast, you can find me in other spots in the Weirding Way Network. I'm an occasional guest on the Culture Cast with Chris Dashew. And speaking of Father Malone's other podcasts, you can hear some of my work soundtrack-wise and other things on his Dark Destinations podcast. If you love good storytelling, good radio drama, please check that out. I also have a Bandcamp site, hpmusicplace.bandcamp.com. Please check that out. But again, thank you so much for listening. Please feel free to subscribe to the podcast, write a review, rate us. We'd love to hear from you in any way you see fit. So for myself and for Father Malone, thanks again, and we'll see you all next time.
Night, Mr. Walters.
Do you love movies? So do I. What's up, y'all? It's KB, and I love movies. Inviting you to listen to The Conversation, a film podcast where passion meets perspective and opinion. From the old school to the new, I invite a guest on to discuss the movies that thrill us, challenge us, break our hearts, or even blow our minds. There's always new episodes dropping wherever you get your podcasts. So join the conversation. We don't just watch movies. We love talking about them too. The Conversation with KB Loves Movies, a part of Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.